No, because it's a consent item, no problems with below right fine.
I think it's been indicated it's going to be. So she's going to do what's that? It's going to kick to its main pole. So probably because of that.
It's 3F.
Thank you.
We'll call the meeting to order now. Councilman Freeman, will you please stand?
Ready? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Flores.
He's at a meeting in, out of town, and he's not here.
Vice Mayor Edge,
Here.
Councilmember DeVries, Councilmember Freeman,
Here.
Councilmember Jordan.
Here?
A quorum is present.
Do we have any public comment?
Yes. Jackie Morris Lopez.
Good evening, Acting Mayor Edge and City Councilman Jordan and Freeman. My name is Jackie Morris Lopez. I've been a citizen of San Juan Bautista for many years. I'm here today requesting and would like you to consider, and actually not consider, I think it's something that should be done, is doing a job evaluation of our current city manager. I feel with the new elections that took place in November that I felt like the city was off to a fresh start, and the spirit of new and changes looking forward to better the city and a new way for the city council to perform. We had many issues in the past with previous managers, not just the most recent past, but through the years we've had several issues. And I feel that one of the things that gets overlooked is that the city manager, along with other staff, is hired staff. And my understanding of the regulations is that the city council acts as, in essence, the HR department when it comes to the hiring of the city manager. The city manager is a very integral and important position for the city. They are in charge of all things of city business, ordinances, development, planning, and they oversee the entire staff, paid staff. I feel that we've lacked in that formality in the past, and I think that moving forward, this should be done. I understand that Ms. LaForge has been here for about 6 months, give or take maybe a month. I think in the real world of employment, generally in that position with her responsibility, there should at least be a 6 months evaluation at this time. And with that, you know, it comes with the praises and the positive issues that come up, but also it's a vehicle to really to give this individual an honest review of what's being done. Now, there is a crux to this, I feel, and this is just my opinion, is that because there's 3 newly elected councilmen that were not elected when Ms. LaForge was hired, I think that there is an issue here that we perhaps have to kind of go back, dial back, and maybe request the panel that did hire her to be part of that evaluation, as well as a panel of citizens to also give our input. I think this is something that really seriously has to be considered. The newly elected council members were not seated at that time. Ms. LaForge was in tenure for about 4 or 5 months, I believe, maybe 4 months. I don't know exact date, but I feel that we have to do this the right way, and we have to do this now. There have been some positive things that have come up with her tenure, but there's also been some things that are not so positive, and I feel that we need to look at that. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, as a point of order, Ms. LaForge's contract calls for her to have a performance review prior to the end of the fiscal year. So I've informed her of this, and I believe she is scheduling this for one of the, end of the fiscal year is end of June, so I think in one of the coming months, she is scheduling her evaluation for the City Council to consider.
Okay.
And you can do that in closed session.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? If not, if we don't have any further comments from the public, we can go on to our consent items. So on number 3. So does John and Leslie?
Well, I'll move that we approve all the consent items as written on the agenda.
I had a question
Oh,
on
okay.
1. On F, I think, yes. When we approve this, are we approving all the events that are listed here? Mm-hmm. Okay. So there's... I have a question where the Spring Equinox Indigenous group are having a New Year event, and they're going to be closing 2nd Street between Washington and Mariposa. And I'm just wondering if the fire department has been notified, or if we have any clearance on that?
I'll get up. Yeah, we have been notified about the whole plan. The Equinox is an easy one. That's not going to be an issue to us. We totally approve of that, support that. The only other issue we had is we just have to make sure we do our fire life safety inspections for the cooking booths and the other parts to make sure we do have adequate spacing to be able to get fire apparatus through in case there is an incident. And that was more for the other items, but it's something that's ongoing every year. We will go through our inspections just to make sure that life safety does exist.
Okay.
But it looks like a good event, so we're good with that.
Thank you, Chuck.
You're welcome.
And then the other concern is if we're going to have over 1,000 people, there's not going to be any restrooms provided? On the application, it shows that there are no restrooms.
That's right. Thank you, Councilmember Edge. Monday Custodian, one of the organizers for the event. We are not expecting 1,000 people. If there's spillover from the Arts and Crafts Fair, just normal walking traffic, but we're only expecting 20 people in the sunrise.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then maybe we'll have, I mean, if we're really, really lucky, we'll have 50 people painting the mandala. But we're not expecting, like 100 people would be way overestimating, nowhere near 1,000. But if there's, 10 to 20,000 people on 3rd Street who are already in town and they happen to wander and want to participate, but I'm just preparing for the community support, which is going to be 20, 50 people tops.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I did have a question, but I think I'm going to just offer that during public comment because it was about the resolution specifically.
So she's also asked to make public comment on item 3F.
Item 3F,
Yes,
which is what we're talking about
Yeah,
right now.
exactly.
So right now would be the time.
Okay.
My question was the resolution on the back. I don't see this event included in the actual resolution that you're going to adopt to authorize street closures. And I'm a little concerned about that because that means that we would need to come back maybe. But it talks about the resolution of City Council of the City of San Juan Bautista authorizing street closures. It talks about September 26th, December 14th, December 14th, March the 30th. It talks about Williams LTD is authorized to close 3rd Street between Franklin, McCollum, and Mariposa, Washington, Polk Streets between 2nd and 4th Streets, Saturday, March, and for the Arts and Crafts Festival of the City of San Juan Bautista. So it's the 4th, be it further resolved. And Williams LTD is definitely a supporter of the Indigenous New Year. And I was working and coordinating with him, and we decided for traffic, it would be best if our project didn't happen inside the street fair. So he's definitely aware of it, but it just...
So this is an old resolution.
That's Resolution 2018-52.
That's an
It's
old
from
one.
last
Okay.
year.
The
yeah.
next one,
All right.
Resolution 2019, whatever it will be, item number 2, be it further
It just
resolved.
hasn't written yet? Okay. I think that I just maybe have some outdated packet, maybe. I apologize.
Yeah, it's the
You're on
next
there.
one over. You're on there.
You're on there.
I'm on there? All right, I appreciate it, thank you.
Okay. So, if you want to restate. So should we approve the
We can approve all the consent except for remove F, and then we can discuss F kind of later. That might help speed things up a little, I don't know.
I don't think you need further discussion. I think you just
Yeah, I
open
think
it up
we're
for
good.
questions,
Okay.
Yeah, if you just
and which is
restate the
allowable,
motion.
so that you can go ahead and just restate your motion and restate.
Okay, so I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So now we go on to item 4, presentations, informal item reports.
All right, we're on the monthly finance report. We're on 4A, is that correct?
Yes,
Oh, okay. I'm Chuck Geiger, I'm the city treasurer of San Juan Bautista. Nice to meet you.
nice to see you.
Unfortunately, my work keeps me late most evenings, but I dashed in here today to try to make it. Hopefully that's going to work out in the future. But anyway, I just wanted to bring it to attention to the council that in the packet you have under item number 4A, there's it talks about the 6-month ending December 31st, and you get to see the actuals versus the annual budget and the actuals. And I'd just like to mention to the council members, if you keep to the right where it says YTD, that just basically means year to date. And those are the numbers you want to watch to see if they're close to being halfway through. Okay, so and there's some letters off to the right, and there are notes that are added to I think the next page or so. I think those are really helpful to the council members to see what's going on with those. I think if you look down at the enterprise fund for the operation of the water and the operation of the sewer, those are big ones. They're right around 50%, which is about where we should be. I just want to bring that to the attention. Some of them fluctuate as you look at the notes. They'll say revenue hasn't come in yet, for example, like gas tax and stuff like this. Sometimes property tax comes in later to us, so it's good to kind of keep your eye, realize this is kind of it's a year budget and numbers. Revenue comes in sometimes at different times, but I just know if there's any concerns there, but that YTD is really a good number for the council members to be reviewing. And then that was for expenditures, which is the first page, and then you had some explanation, the second page, on where you had notes. Third page, we talk about the first page is expenditures. The third page is about revenues. So once again, look at the YDT, and I think that's a good number to be looking at when you're in terms of how are we doing with the big funds, which are the water sewer. Okay. You can also tell if you looked at the what they call the warrants, the checks written, that December was a big month for San Juan. If you look, there's a lot of big numbers there. You have to pay for the fire service, the Hollister, which is like $40,000. Keep that in mind that these come along. They come out every 3 months or 6 months. So there's some big numbers in there. And if you look on the last page of the warrant, it shows you what the total amount came out to be. And there's one for the sheriff's department kicked in that month too. So you see, you got like 90,000. It just went out on 2 checks. So don't let it frighten you. It's just those things happen. And overall, I think we're doing a good job. And I was talking to Michelle. I texted Michelle today, and I know she's out tonight. But did you have any questions that you would like to ask me?
I don't have any questions.
Okay.
John?
John, any questions?
The only one, the Major's Brothers Drilling, is that finishing up the last of the drills we did?
I believe that is.
Okay.
That's we brought well 6 on.
Right.
And I've been here 25 years, and thank goodness we have that well. I mean, it cost us some pretty good money, but I'm going to be honest with you.
It's not that money.
I'm very pleased. I think we have a great, that's a great well too. And you guys have done a good job of getting it to go through, and I want to thank you for that. But I think you look at some of the big expenses. We've worked on the sewer plant, getting the sludge out. That was some major dollars, and that's better off. Water system is a lot now. We've got picked up a new well, which is pumping great volumes of water. So we've got the 2 major enterprise funds, the water and sewer, that we've really handled. And keep in mind, when you look at the capital expenditures, you'll see that we haven't spent a lot of money in some of them. And I think as the cash flow increases, I know when they started building the Meritage homes, it was like they were hotcakes, they were selling quickly, and now it's kind of pulled back. So one of the things you notice in the packet that our person who runs those permits and our code enforcement, we're going to look at moving that person instead of being 5 days. Now things have slowed down to like 2 days a week. So we are keeping an eye on the expenses, but December was a big month. And once again, I'll say I just think San Juan's doing so much better with the water and the sewer, and thank you guys. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions, John? Anything else? Yeah.
No.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now we'll move on to item B, our manager's report. Is somebody going to, are you going to do that, Todd?
Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council and staff, good evening. Todd Kennedy, your city planner. If you'd like me to, I could talk a little bit about the city manager's report. If you like, it is in your packet already. But also I can jump right ahead to some areas that deal with community development, if that's okay. It just depends on which you prefer.
You have a planning report on C, so.
Okay.
Read it out, community development on C.
Yeah, definitely. We'll go ahead and do that. Okay. Folks, members of the council, let me just go ahead and do that. Community development, there's a few things just to report on to give you an update. The Dadwell gas station update, deceleration lane estimates are underway with their staff and should be reporting back to us. And there's some information about Casa Rosa that I have in here. It says right here, final hearing February 25th, contract lined up to repair or remove the balcony and open up a sidewalk, needs security fence and cameras to keep intruders out. Digging for old bottles has been happening. So stuff has been happening, so security is definitely an issue with that. But I understand though that our code enforcement officer and our city attorney, city manager have been working diligently on that project and all. And as you know, there's been a structural engineer's report turned in on the Casa Rosa. Another item I'd like to jump to is on Franklin Street. That is 10 Franklin Street. Belongs to Drew Neubauer, one of our property owners in town. You might have heard a little bit about that back in December. There is the pending zone change from a public facility back to mixed use. There is some information that needs to be gathered, including CEQA review on that. One thing I will say, the building permit itself was issued back in June of 2015. The building official, we met with the building official, fire marshal, and property owner and their legal counsel. The building official did deem the permit as valid and is still good to go. Construction can take place as it was originally proposed and approved as such. Now the next thing to do is to finish up the zone change back to mixed use to make that correction from the general plan, as we probably already know. However, there is a CEQA review that needs to be done. The planning contract that we have with EMC Planning Group, they do CEQA review. I sent them all the information that we have on file with the building permit and such, so they're reviewing to see how far in CEQA do we need to go before this thing can go and come back to you for the finishing up the zone change. So that's pretty much it on 10 Franklin, so please stay tuned for more information. Harvey's lockup, I'd like to just touch base on that and to let you know the status has been ongoing and is still underway. However, with the step 3 that was originally scheduled to be finished up this back in January, that was delayed. That was between the contractor and the property owner. There were some situations on their end that they had to get finished up. The good news was, after talking with them last week, that sounds like some of that has been taken care of, so now they're rolling again. They should be finished up with the proper installation fire suppression system in the apartment units by the end of this month. That's what they estimated to me. However, after talking with the fire marshal, we got to hold them to it, otherwise we have to take more action, including red tagging the building. I just want to let you know what I've been told and just to be upfront about the situation. Pretty much, I think that concludes everything I have for item C in the community development report. I can answer any questions you may have on that.
We're giving them to the end of February?
End of February.
Okay.
That's what they estimated to us, so we put that in, and we got to hold them to it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
So then now we go on to item D, reports from city council appointees to regional organizations and committees. So we'll just go down the line.
You want to start or want me to start?
Huh?
Do you want to start or you want me to start?
I can start.
Okay, great.
But what I'm saying is we'll just go down each
okay, go that
item,
line.
And then you let me know, you and Leslie,
Sure.
let us know what you'd like to attend. So we need somebody, a secondary with AMBAG.
I can be the second on that, but I have class on Wednesday night, so I would need to know.
I'm sorry, Madam Vice Mayor, this is reports from city council appointees to committees, so that would be where you talk about
Yeah, that's
whether you
right.
go to a LAFCO meeting, et cetera. I think what you started doing is 6A, so
Thank you.
that's later on in the
My
agenda.
mistake. Okay, you go ahead.
Perfectly okay. It gets confusing when you do 2 or 3 times. On AMBAG, we met a week and a half ago. They might have an exciting new announcement that will affect Planning Commission, but I don't want to get my head out over my skis, so you can talk to me privately, Todd. Other than that, everything is going fine at AMBAG. Then at Monterey, no, that's last. Okay, we're down to intergovernmental. I went to my first intergovernmental meeting, and I received a great PowerPoint presentation on all the exciting things they're doing at San Benito High. They're rebuilding the entire high school, basically. And they have a new swimming pool. It's going to be made out of stainless steel instead of gunite and plaster. It's just lickety-split. It's great. Really had nothing to do with San Juan, though. But we're going to start meeting monthly, and I hope it'll be a good experience meeting with the people from Hollister and the county. As for Monterey Bay Power, the issues with Monterey Bay Power are, of course, PG&E's looming bankruptcy, and so we're still wondering what's ahead for us, and nobody really knows yet until the bankruptcy judge and the PUC make up their minds. And that probably won't be, it's a 2-year process, we were told, so who knows. That's it for my reports.
I went to the Water Resources Association meeting, San Benito County Water Management District. Sean Novak would like to present in May to the council and to the public on what's coming up with them. They have a lot of programs that we as San Juan Bautista citizens are very much underutilizing. Toilet replacement, irrigation, and overall water use efficiency. And we have the San Benito County Water Management Districts at our disposal to assist us in all of these programs, and Sean will present on it in May.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And I went to the homeless planning group back in January, and the governor has released $180 million for Monterey County and San Benito County. And that was the only meeting that I've been to, and I was going to get together with a gentleman that is from that group also, but we have not met yet, so that's it. That's all I have to say. So we'll move on to the Strategic Plan Committee report.
Okay, Madam Vice Mayor, members of the council, staff, good evening. Once again, Todd Kennedy, your city planner here. Both myself, if I may, both myself and John both serve on the, or Councilmember Freeman, excuse me, serve on the Strategic Planning Committee together, so we'll probably be given some information. I'd like to just start off by Madam Chair, Mandisa Snody. She was just here earlier tonight. She had to go. She had an appointment to go, so she wanted to pass it over to me to give a report. During the upcoming council meeting, she'd like to give you a report of like the quarterly report of what the Strategic Planning Committee is doing and so forth. There'll be more information that'll be provided. Just to report on the February 7th Strategic Planning Committee meeting, just one key thing to report, definitely anticipate an action item on your agenda on a future council meeting to move to grant the Strategic Planning Committee to interact, to have a youth commission presence. The reason is that the Youth Commission, the Strategic Planning Committee, are for a while, we wanted to kind of open up the communication between the two groups. The reason is we just didn't want them to do, both groups do the same thing. I'm referring to what's called the Community Garden Project, and with the Youth Commission for their project, they wanted to go ahead and move in that direction. After discussing that with the Strategic Planning Committee, they wanted to be on their agenda and to let them know, so that way they can either do a joint effort or go in two separate directions. So that action item needs to be fine-tuned. It has already been discussed and approved on by the Strategic Planning Committee on February 7th. Sorry, can't talk tonight. So please anticipate that on the action item. And that's pretty much all I have to report. Councilmember Freeman, if I left anything out?
I don't think so. I think that was excellent, Todd.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Question, I'm not sure if you can answer this or not. Arts Council, do we have any verdict on that?
Councilmember, I'll go ahead and take a shot. Councilmember Jordan, if I may, let me just go ahead and see if I can take a shot at that. I believe that's all spearheaded by the Strategic Planning Committee in one of their subcommittees, and that's the one that takes care of that. That's the one that takes place on, the consent item that we were talking about earlier tonight on the agenda. That's like the first wave of its kind for the mandala and the art, for.
Okay. Thank you. And the emergency response plan, is that coming out of that group as well?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct. That is something that we were spearheading, and myself, I went ahead and established communication with our emergency operations manager, San Benito County. He and I had a meeting, and now the next step is to bring our mayor and city manager and have them meet and discuss what we have on file with our emergency management plan and figure out ways to fine tune it. And also discuss our ordinance that was passed last year for emergency operations.
Very good, thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so now we move on to number 5, action items. Consider approval of a fire protection contract with the City of Hollister for 7 years in the amount of $228,000 with 3% annual increases. So, do we have there you are. Okay.
Vice Mayor Edge, Council Members Jordan and Freeman. Michelle asked me to speak to this item. You have in front of you the staff report that she and I put together, as well as the contract with some yellow highlighted areas. This contract went to our city attorney for approval to look at, as well as our insurance carrier, and they negotiated some different levels. So that's all been worked out. So the contract is almost cost-wise the same as the existing contract, if you factor in that the city will, instead of having to put money aside for a new rig, that City of Hollister will be purchasing 3 vehicles. And then we also have that we'll be gaining a third firefighter. Right now they operate with 2. And let's see. And then they'll be renting, give us money to rent the facility over here. And we'll be bringing another contract back to you to cover that. So it's all working out very well. This is going to, if you approve it, then it will have to go back to the City of Hollister Council for their approval again, since these changes have been made. So it's a 7-year contract. The other one was just for 3. So it's a more duration, and the other one had annual increases of 3% as well, so that's the same. Have any questions?
I only have a comment. I think it's a great idea to increase it to 7, because we don't want to do that all this often, And I know that you worked very hard with Parsec and all the little insurance issues that kind of came up, and so I just wanted to thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
And I think it's a great contract. I think that everything seems very fair.
Me too. Okay. All right. I think you have a resolution in front of you.
Public comment?
Yeah, we should call for it.
Do we have any public comment?
Nope.
I guess not. Okay. Where's my resolution?
It is
What resolution number are we on?
2019 XX, so.
Laura?
It'll be number 7.
Number 7.
1907.
I make a motion to approve Resolution 201907, approving the contract between the City of San Juan Bautista and the City of Hollister for fire protection services.
I'll second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so motion carried. Okay. Do we have a discussion on this now?
No, we passed it.
So it's moved.
We're
Okay,
good to
so-
go.
All right, good. So now we are going on to item B. Consider changes to security requirements for rental of San Juan Bautista Community Hall.
Yes.
I'm going to recuse myself from this. Not that I have a monetary conflict, but my son works for Level 1 Private Security. So in the interest of being transparent, I am going to recuse myself.
So, Madam Vice Mayor, you do not have a quorum for this item, so it will have to be continued to the next meeting.
Okay. So then now I just,
You can make
a motion.
You don't even have it,
I know.
3 to continue, so just ask
we'll just agree
staff to
to-
put it on at the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll just move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so item C, consider amendment to the 2018-2019 fiscal budget, transferring $38,000 from capital improvement projects for the purchase of a Kubota tractor.
Good evening, honorary council members.
Good evening, Paul.
I'm here to answer any questions you have on the consideration of the moving the money from the fiscal budget, transferring it to capital improvements projects for the purchase of the Kubota tractor. Done a lot of research on several different tractor companies, and we've had really good luck with our Kubota tractor. We have 20 years of use out of it. It is ailing and failing right now. I've been working on it pretty much every time we take it out on projects. There are considerable repairs that have to be done on it. Right now, it's had 2 clutches put in it, and it's time for another one. The differential is actually starting to fail to where it's jumping out of gear.
Oh, no.
I feel that this particular tractor that we're getting, this Tier 4 compliant, emissions compliant tractor, we'll get another, 20 years out of this tractor, just like we did the other one. So that's why I'm proposing moving around the money from some of our projects that, we just finished up last year a project on 7th Street that was proposed for $150,000 to do a sewer repair. And we were able to accomplish that repair for $50,000. So we've saved a lot of money just by keeping it going. But it's also a safety issue with the tractor also. And in emergency repairs that are required in the city, we need a tractor, we need it right now, and we can't really afford to have breakdowns, especially if it's a water issue, sewer issue that needs immediate attention.
Councilman Freeman, do you have any comments, questions?
Well, I think safety is number 1 priority, so in 20 years is a good long life for any piece of equipment. I'm in complete favor of this. It sounds like it's a little bit bigger than the one we have now. Is that the case, or
It's double the size.
Double the size. Okay.
We have an L35, and this is a M63, so it's actually 63. The original was 35 horse. This one's actually rated at 70 horse, and the digging capacity is 3 times the amount of what we currently have.
So those are significant upgrades, and it's one that we can probably use around town. You know better than I.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Councilman Leslie, do you have any comments?
No, I'm thrilled. At some point, the repairs far outweigh the cost of buying a new one.
Yeah. And I agree. We need a new tractor.
The current tractor had 2,500 hours on it, and this was a hour meter that I was told that broke maybe 5 to 6 years ago. So I really can't tell actually how many hours I'm on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, then I move that we,
I think you need public comment.
oh, sorry.
Do we have any public comment on this? Buy the tractor. Okay, so now we can go.
I move that we transfer $38,000 from capital improvement to facilitate the purchase of a new tractor.
I second it.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we go on to discussion items. Number 6, revisit council's list of representatives to committees. Now we go to that.
Okay. When I was at the intergovernmental meeting, I was told that the city of San Juan gets 2 primary members, so we need to appoint another one.
Right. So.
That's on a Thursday, I can go.
So you want to be the second person?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Let's go back up to the AMBAG. We need a secondary.
On these committees, do both parties attend at the same time?
No.
So it's only when
When
the
can't.
primary
When I
can't,
get
the
sick.
secondary? Okay. Okay. I'll take it.
Okay, good, thank you.
Don't get sick too often, please.
Now, I don't know what to do about this West Nile virus. It says here that they meet infrequently, so do we go ahead and sign up, and then if they have a meeting, we go? Okay, well, we meet on Wednesdays. I'll go ahead and sign up for that. And then ad hoc for parking within the city. So I'm the main person, but we need a second person.
If we don't have meetings on
And we
Wednesdays,
don't.
I can do it.
And it says as needed, so we always, we can
Okay.
always do Thursdays. Okay. And then ad hoc committee for sheriff contract. I'd like to be the second person for that. And then ad hoc committee for cannabis.
I'll be the second person for that.
Okay, John, thank you.
Lucky.
And Monterey, San Benito County Continuum of Care Leadership Council.
Anybody know what that is?
What is that?
That's an organization that works, or a group that works side by side with the homeless.
Oh.
We spoke about that.
Oh, that's right, so I should, okay, thanks. Okay, so
We're filled in.
we're filled in. Oh gosh, okay, that's great. So the next item, item B, is the sesquicentennial event update. Ann Finch or Fritch?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I'll try to be brief, although we've got a lot of things going on this year. Just want to bring you up to date on some of the things. Let's see, in March, we have Indigenous Peoples Mandala Art Project on 2nd Street, across the street from the Castro Adobe, and that'll be, on the pavement of the street itself. April 13th, the Historic Walking Trail celebration of the second phase completion. At 9 in the morning, there's a ribbon cutting in front of the new kiosk that we're installing. between the bakery and the new Japanese restaurant with the help of the city crew who's going to affix it to the pavement. Then after that, there's a pancake breakfast at the Texas Lodge. And after that, we will have several of the buildings in San Juan open to the public for a couple of hours. And we're having some docents, some of the people from the State Park Historic volunteers are going to help us take people around and explain different buildings and whatnot. And May 18th is the day of Wine and Roses. And Sean, you want to go into that a little bit? She's chairperson.
Good evening. The Days of Wine and Roses is a fundraiser for Rosa's House organization, and it'll be kind of a fun event where we're highlighting the rose collection, roses that are growing in the state park areas, and then the mission itself. We have 3 segments of it, so there's actually going to be a lecture in the morning. Midday, there's going to be a tour of the mission and all of the roses in the state park. And then we end with a wine tasting event and silent auction down at 18th Barrel. So should be a lot of fun. That's the 18th of May.
Will there be a notice or something that goes out through Facebook or
Yes.
so that we have all those dates?
Actually, Heidi Baltz is doing an outstanding job of highlighting all of these. She puts them on
Yes, she
Facebook.
is.
She puts them in Mission Village Voice for us. She does email broadcasts. We definitely have lots of Facebook, other partner agencies and entities working with Facebook and promoting this. And I think we're hoping to use the city's Instagram as well as a social media outlet because the city does have its own social media now.
Okay. Thank you, Sean.
Okay, moving right along, in June is the usual Mission Fiesta on the 16th, 15th and 16th, and we'll have a little booth there and be promoting the 150th. On the 23rd, State Park volunteers are doing their big yearly early days demonstrations, and there again we'll be interacting with them. In July, the Indigenous Peoples Cultural Event. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to do, but they have an event. August 18th, the Native Daughters of the Golden West are having a fashion show and luncheon. And that's the proceeds of that are to go towards helping to restore the adobe. And let's see, then we come to September. This is the big one. We start off on the 7th with a pancake breakfast. The Texas Lodge is doing that for us. Then we're having a plaque dedication. The Clampers are giving a plaque here to the city, and it's going to be put on a type of monument here. We're not sure exactly where. We have to pick a good location, but we'll be working with the Planning Commission on that. After that, we move to the parade. We're having a parade that demonstrates the different ages that have been here in San Juan Bautista. So we're going to be leading off with our Mutsun tribe, and then behind them we're having priests, monks, descendants of the Dian's expedition, costume docents, that sort of thing, all on foot. And once they're out of the way, we're having a horseman's contingent, a rather large horseman's contingent from Salinas, and possibly an oxen cart, which would be ahead of them, just behind the walkers. And then another horse group, local Gymkhana riders, mostly young children and teenagers and whatnot, excellent horsemen. And after that, we have another horseman contingent. And many of these people are the ones that helped establish the rodeo in Gilroy last year that turned out to be such a success. And it's a lot of diverse groups, but they all come together for these kinds of things. Then behind them will be a drill team on horseback performing for the crowds. After that, we have a contingent of old cars, hot rods, that kind of thing that's always popular. And behind that, former volunteer firemen of the San Juan Bautista Fire Department.
Nice.
Have them. And we have floats with, hopefully, employees from the cement plant. And then also, we want one with a train, built up like a train of some sort, because that was very important here to San Juan Bautista. Another one with gas station on it, and that also was so important. Another one with farm workers. And at the end of that, which I think would probably take a little over an hour, probably an hour and a half, close to that, then we all go over to Abbey Park. And in the afternoon in Abbey Park, we have contests, and I'll be looking for judges for that. So if anybody wants to help judge the pie baking contest, or the watermelon eating contest, or the beard growing contest, I want to get some women for that one. And games, old-time games, like a three-legged race, sack race, limbo, tug-of-war, those kinds of things for kids and grown kids.
Fun.
And then there'll also be a child's play area with a petting zoo and those kinds of things. We'll have snacks available, cupcakes, watermelon, water chips, that kind of, and hot dogs. We're giving hot dogs away. We have 5 bands lined up, so we'll have music going on throughout the whole afternoon. And it's a wide variety, everything from ukulele bands to old California music bands to rock and roll bands. It's quite a broad group. And then in the evening, we'll have a dance at the VFW. Oh yeah, the name of the band, I love this, Sweet Daddy and the Bad Cats. And then in the next day, September 8th, John, you want to do that one?
Alrighty, so on Sunday, we are going to be holding a beer and wine stroll in San Juan Bautista. It's our first annual Sip and Celebrate beer and wine stroll. We've been working with 4 of the tasting rooms here in San Juan, breweries and tasting rooms, to help coordinate the event. So we've got a great steering committee. We've already received a donation of $1,000 from Recology to help us put this event on, which is really exciting. Yeah, they're wonderful. So what we're doing is, it's from 1 to 5, and we have 18 businesses downtown that are interested in being pouring locations.
Oh, nice.
And we've invited all of the San Juan Bautista nonprofits to participate, and what they would be doing is being the pourers in each of these locations as a fundraising effort for all of the San Juan Bautista nonprofit organizations. So we've reached out to all 20 of them. So far, 8 have committed to it. And we're pretty excited. This should be a really exciting event for San Juan. We have businesses both on 4th Street and on 3rd Street, of course. Again, the event's from 1 to 5, and tickets should probably go on sale around May. So, great planning team, well ahead of the game, working with all of the other businesses, and actually a couple of Chamber of Commerce and Downtown Business Association for Hollister and for Gilroy. So good network of folks to help us coordinate this event.
Very nice. Very fun.
Has anybody contacted the Japanese Japanese restaurant for some maybe sake?
We actually have. We have them as a tasting location, and we've reached out to the sake, distillery, whatever it is.
It's over in Hollister,
sake. Yeah, so Hines, we've already had that in the plans.
Oh, that's
nice.
great.
And really important for us too, we want to highlight the Cienega Valley wineries, because as most of you probably know, in the 1800s, Theophile Vachi, actually, he created that whole region and sold his wine here in San Juan Bautista. So we've got 3 wineries out there that we're hoping will be at the not actually in the Adobe at Hardiness, but in one of the other rooms at Hardiness, and then hopefully in the Plaza Market, because that's another location for Vachi.
Oh,
well done.
That's
nice.
Great.
Yeah.
And one other question, do you have to get insurance for the horses, for some sort of, to cover a possible mishap or anything like that? Is there insurance to?
I've talked with Michelle about that, and she feels that the city's insurance should probably cover that. Also, a number of the horsemen's groups, they have that.
They have
because they do this on an ongoing basis,
Right.
so they're pretty well aware of insurance and cleanup, that kind of thing.
Waivers and indemnifications.
So that takes care of the big time that we planned for September. Then in, let's see, where is October? Oh yeah, October, the Indigenous people cultural event, they're going to have another celebration. And we're actually bringing in, or helping bring in, a gentleman from New Mexico. He's a Navajo, speaks Navajo, elderly gentleman, and he's a very widely known silversmith. And so we'll have him set up down in, let's see, Artesians, I can't remember the last word.
Attraction?
That's it, yes, thank you.
Is it? The artisan attraction?
So, anyway, he's going to be in there inside, kind of, secluded. He's an elderly gentleman, and so we wanted to have him down there so he's not out where he would be, bumped into and that sort of thing. But he'll be demonstrating, yeah. And if anyone speaks Navajo, there's your chance to be proud. So that's October. There's also the Ghost Walk on the 25th and 26th, and then we're going to try to, somewhere or another, kind of highlight the 150th anniversary through that. We don't know quite how we're going to do it, but I'm sure the individual ghost houses will come up with good things. And then November, Jardines is putting on their Dia de los Muertos party that they do every year, and there again they want to do something that's definitely in conjunction with the 150th. And then Teatro Campesino, we don't know what they're going to do, but it's going to be something big. So we'll be looking forward to that. And then December we have the bonfire. So that's about it. Anybody have any questions?
No, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Big list, big list.
Yeah, big list. So, okay, now we go on to council training opportunities. Deputy City Clerk?
Yes, I was asked to put together a list for your reference of trainings that are available and resources that we have. Of course, I always lean on the League of California Cities. They, together with their conferences that they have a lot of training at. So we just got past the new Mayor and Council Members Academy, and then what comes up is an executive forum that you can attend as well. And I think they're pretty much having most of their stuff in Southern California, Long Beach area. So that's in June. I already saw flyers coming out, and I can forward that your way. And then there's the annual conference in September where they touch on a lot of different topics. And then there are required trainings of council members and elected and appointed officials, as well as the employees. And so there's ethics, and some of you have completed that already. It's every 2 years. Harassment and bullying prevention, I think that's AB 1661. And then the sexual harassment prevention, which has, they've really updated the requirements on that because of an assembly bill that passed, and that requirements go into effect the first part of 2020. So you'll be hearing more about that. But Irma, who we get the benefits of through PARSAC, has opportunities for the training, and I can hook you up with that as we're members. In fact, I will be sending notices your way. There's another one, Intivate, that has been beneficial or very helpful with some of those trainings. And then the League of Institute for Local Government has a lot of good information as well. So I just wanted to make sure that you had access to all of these websites, and so you can come to me also if any of this, if you feel that you need the training, and I can get it all set up for you.
I just have a question. Do the planning commissioners go to any of these training sessions? I'm just curious.
They didn't in the past, but they are now. In fact, there's a Planning Commissioners Academy, just like you went to the City Council Academy, and that is the first part of March. And they'll be going down to Southern California, and 4 of them are attending. One of them already attended that a couple of years ago when he came on board. So, yes, and I'm encouraging that.
I was just curious.
Right. And they also we're encouraging them to attend some of the historic preservation trainings and
Very
get more
good.
training that way because that's a requirement. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, our next item is a weekly Old Town Block Party, but our Mayor Flores isn't here, so I don't know, should we go ahead with this, or no?
Just discuss
I think we
next
should
time.
just discuss it next time.
Table it for next meeting,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, all right. So, comments?
I have none at this time.
Okay.
I do not either.
And neither do I. City manager or acting city manager, Trish? No? And city attorney?
Well, just as a segue into our last matter on the agenda, we have a conference with legal counsel, and we can have that here, or we can move it into the city manager's office, whatever you'd like. If it's here, then we'd have to wait till everybody leaves the chambers to have that conference. And I'd also say that Councilmember DeVries was the one that requested this conference, and he's not here. So under those circumstances, you may want to continue this to the next meeting with him being here, or we can go ahead and hear it tonight.
Well, you know, I think we should go ahead with it
I
tonight,
agree.
and we can go to the back, and if anybody wants to stay, they can stay, and then we come back and we adjourn the meeting. Okay. So, I guess we can just go ahead and meet now? Yes. Okay.
Sorry, does the public have a right to speak on this last decision by Councilwoman Edge? City Attorney. What's the decision? Well, no comment. She decided, she said, she prefaced the action of the meeting that it was, or you did, requested by Councilman Dan Breeze, who is not here. So I noticed that other items have been tabled because the person involved with that is not here. So I'm wondering why we're moving quickly to continue if that person's not.
Well, I mean, do you want that to be your comment on this? Because basically you can make a comment on 8A prior to going into closed session.
Well, my comment is I'm just asking, acting Vice Mayor Edge, why are you moving forward to have this meeting when Councilman Breeze requested this session and is not here? I would recommend that you table it like you did the other items.
Thank you for your comment and your feeling. The reason I want to go ahead and move with this is that La Casa Rosa is in really bad state. And I think we all feel that we need to move on this. So that's why I feel that we need to go ahead and meet.
So are we're going back?
We're meeting in the back.
Okay.
Hello, Chris. Shortest meeting. What? Yeah, absolutely. So the meeting's completely over now? or-
Well, we're supposed to come back and announce, but you can go home. I mean, we're going to go.
Okay.
It's pretty much.
So I'll put everything away?
Yes.
Thank you. Just my civic too.
The one that comes up.
That little box right there?
This one here?
No.
Nope, this one.